Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys all are having a happy holiday so far. So in this video we will be creating a very interesting, unique modern mansion within the Sims 4, which has this very unique looking curved swimming pool in the back garden area of this home, which I feel like looks super interesting and unique. And I have actually had this picture in particular saved in my Pinterest board for a while now, but I just haven't really acted on it and really tried to create something to do with this very huge swimming pool design, because I was just it looked a bit intimidating with all those curved pieces for the swimming pool and whatnot, and it wasn't really doable. But since we do have the curved walls for the swimming pool now, I feel like it's kind of just a cool opportunity to try it out and see if I could sort of get the same design and shape and layout, if that makes sense. So yeah, we're just starting off by creating the actual base of the pool, and I do actually end up building the pool on the second floor, so we don't have any first floors going on throughout this entire build, because I wanted the entire house to be sort of floating, because we're going to add quite a lot of terrain manipulation and stuff below it, and add some fake columns and whatnot to make it seem as if it's on the side of a cliff or some sort of mounting, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's sort of just the main goal that I was trying to go for. And I actually utilized quite a lot of these spa day columns throughout the entire perimeter of the swimming pool, because I wanted to get that really nice curved look and feel to the swimming pool, rather than just relying on the building of tools and objects that we have. So we do actually have quite a lot of these diagonal wall pieces for the pool, but we don't actually really see it because they're all pretty much covered up, and I didn't want to bore you guys with that too much, so I did actually end up skipping most of that process. But I did want to leave it in just in case you wanted to see the process of it and whatnot. And I did have to use the tool mod heavily to change it into different sizes and whatnot, and try to make it fit with the overall design and shape that I was going for. And yeah, I just feel like it actually turned out pretty good as well. And I did also utilize some pristine pedestals going around the center of the actual swimming pool walls as well. But yeah, now moving on into actually doing the main part of the build and creating the walls and the rooms and spaces and whatnot, we do have a relatively boxy shape. However, I feel like it doesn't really look that boring or uninteresting like most of the modern homes that you might see in The Sims, mainly because I feel like despite it being very boxy and rectangular looking and really flat with floor to ceiling windows going on throughout the entire build, that does generally get a bit too boring and not really that interesting to look at, because there's not that many dynamic features to the home. However, I feel like I incorporated quite a lot of differences within this build in particular, which I feel like makes this modern home look relatively unique and interesting in my opinion. And yeah, I feel like you guys would also agree with that, as well as you would see as we progress throughout the video how I incorporate so many different elements and just a lot of features that poke out from the home, which I feel make it look really unique. So the main home that I was actually inspired by had this very huge sort of rooftop sort of seating area and lounge and whatever, and I just felt like it was a bit too flat looking in my opinion. I really liked the way it looked with that L-shaped, but and one side of it being a bit taller, 2 stories, and the other one just being flat. But I just felt like it didn't really turn out that great and it didn't really look that interesting. So I did actually end up changing it up a bit for the exterior and just not going one-to-one with the actual real life build. So I do apologize if you guys were looking forward to getting a one-to-one copy, but you guys could just pretty much get rid of that room or part of the home in particular and just sort of change it up if you guys want to, create a one-to-one. But I feel like it looks a lot greater like this, and it just adds a bit of uniqueness to the home. And I did actually use some bollards, those street bollard things from the debug or live edit mode, and I just sort of sized them up and placed them below the swimming pool, which I feel made it look like it had some sort of column support for the entire swimming pool part of the home. But then I actually did end up changing them to be these very huge fake debug candles, which also did work out in the end as well, which had less details, which is the main reason why I did actually change it. And for the front of the home, since we were actually working with such a tall wall height, and the wall height that we are working with right now within the video at this moment is a short wall height on the first floor, which is technically the second floor, but we do actually end up changing that to the tallest wall height because it just made the overall build looks so much more interesting, and you would actually get to see that later on in the video as well. And you guys can let me know in the comments below if you guys do agree or disagree, because I feel like it definitely makes a huge difference when I made that swimming pool part of the home very tall, because I actually incorporated a lot of greenery towards the back garden side of the home, which sort of just took the actual interest. It made the pool stand out less So I feel like just adding that extra wall height really did help with making that swimming pool design, shape and layout sort of like stand out just a bit more. And we're also utilizing this very nice fake green grass for the back garden area of the home as well, which I feel like looks super nice and luxurious. Just fits with that main typical sort of like Bel Air LA style, sort of modern mega mansion style that you would probably see in those areas in the USA, if that makes sense. So yeah, that was sort of just like the main goal that I was trying to go for. And I just utilized a bunch of these like modern furniture pieces for the back garden areas and stuff like that to make it feel like it just like felt really modern and stuff like that. So yeah, that was kind of just like the main goal. And you might have noticed at the front part of the home as well, we didn't really have quite a lot of space, and since we're working with a lot of these like tall wall heights and whatnot, we just like tried to make it look really interesting by adding some like fountains, and yeah, just trying to make it look as interesting as possible without compromising on how it looks, because I still feel like it did actually turn out pretty great in my opinion in the end, like especially with the fake sort of like spa day columns that I have going on throughout the entire front area of the home, which I feel like made it stand out and make it look a lot more different, rather than just leaving it flat on some terrain, which I feel like would have looked really boring and just like not really that interesting in my opinion. But yeah, I feel like it turned out amazing. But yeah, you guys can let me know what you guys think about that in the comment sections below. And right now we're actually using quite a lot of these like flat windows, like floor to ceiling windows, which I feel like didn't really add any dimension into the home and didn't really make it look that interesting. That does of course end up changing because I really wanted to incorporate some sort of indoor outdoor feeling for this build in particular. So the way I just did that was just by utilizing these pre-opened like huge sliding glass doors on either side, and I just feel like these ones actually worked out really nicely. It is quite a shame that you can't really close them, but I just feel like they really do suit the home in particular, because I feel like you would have a lot of these like pocket doors or like these sliding doors in these huge LA mansions. So yeah, I really wanted to incorporate that within this build in particular as well. And here you could pretty much just like see I pretty much turned the entire back garden area into like a very busy sort of greeny atmosphere, and it just didn't really make the pool look that interesting. So I just ended up putting on a taller wall height, and I was just really happy with how it turned out. And I did have to go back and just like pretty much raise all of the columns and the pedestals as well, which was a bit time consuming, but I feel like it was quite worth it in the end, and I feel like it really did turn out pretty amazing in my opinion. And here we're actually creating the outdoor living space area. So I wanted to incorporate quite a lot of fireplaces throughout this entire home as well, because I just felt like it felt a bit more cozy and homey, and I just feel like it works really nicely with the busy and expensive modern atmosphere that we have going on. And you might actually see that specific fireplace design going on throughout the entire home, because I really do like how simple it looks, and it sort of just like fits that modern theme that I'm trying to go for. And I did also want to change some of the flooring as well to like this like stone sort of like patio area, just to like designate certain parts of the home to be like different areas of the home, if that makes sense. And since the main part of the home had like this very rectangular boxy shape, I really wanted to make sure I can incorporate a lot of like rooms into it without having to like compromise a lot of the space. So I just created these like two simple like rooms right at the front of the home, which houses like a gym and a bathroom area, which I feel like turned out pretty nicely. I didn't really want to like close every single room off and make it feel closed off, because I feel like a lot of these modern homes do have that indoor, outdoor and open floor plan sort of feel to them. So I kind of just wanted that to be resonated within this build in particular as well. But yeah, moving on to the kitchen area of this home in particular, I actually wanted to create a really nice modern black kitchen for this home in particular. I just feel like it looks super nice and sleek, and these ones that came from the Life and Death expansion pack are just like the perfect kitchen counter sets that I've probably ever seen in this entire game, which is the main reason why I just really enjoy utilizing them, to be honest. They come in pretty much all the colors that I really like utilizing, and I feel like since a lot of these modern homes do have these like very monochrome designs and styles and colorways and whatnot, I really wanted that to be replicated for this build in particular as well. So yeah, we do actually have quite a monochrome sort of design and layout going on throughout this entire build. So yeah, we do go for these like very simplistic colors, but I feel like it turns out really nice in the end. And this lot is actually very expensive. I believe it's pretty much like just below 1 million simoleons, which I feel like isn't really that expensive, but I feel like it kind of is for a general home like this, if that makes sense, especially since this is a 3-bedroom home. So yeah, you need to also take that into consideration. But you can also use the first floor as well if you guys want to add some additional rooms into the house and whatnot. I'd really love to see, like, if you guys do end up playing in these builds, even if it was like one of the ones that I've built previously and not this one, if you guys ever made changes to them or whatnot, it would be really cool to see like what you guys come up with and like what you guys change and what you guys would like prefer more, if that makes sense, because I feel like I like building like in a general style. I feel like everyone can like pretty much change all of the houses and styles to be like in their own taste. So yeah, I'm just feeling with that general theme that I really love going with, especially with that one particular modern design that a lot of these like LA homes have. So yeah, I just feel like I was able to properly execute that within this build in particular. But yeah, we do also have a very nice sort of like nook off to the side of this kitchen, which houses this very nice and spacious sort of dining area, which also has this very unique sort of like wall detailing with the lights and the paintings, which I feel like turned out really nicely. I did also want to add some storage units there as well, such as like a unit table or whatnot onto one of the sides of the walls, but I just feel like there wasn't quite a lot of space to work with. So yeah, I just was trying to make it fit and just like make it feel spacious while, you know, trying to make it feel a bit busy as well at the same time. And here's the small sort of gym that we have, which I feel like is kind of like a pretty decent size for a gym, especially since we don't really have a lot of equipment that we can use in the Sims 4 anyway. So I feel like this is actually quite a perfect sort of size for a gym like that in a house like this, in my opinion. And I feel like it sort of like makes sense to have the room like right next to the door, which sort of just like leads you into the garden and straight into the swimming pool. So yeah, I feel like it just like kind of looks nice and just like works well together. And in case you are wondering, the build is completely functional, so you don't have to worry about anything like not working or whatnot, because I have already tested it out before uploading it onto the gallery. So yeah, just like making sure that like everything works and stuff was very crucial before releasing it for all of you guys to play with. But yeah, I'm really just like happy with how it actually turned out. And yeah, so this is actually the main bathroom area that we have for this home in particular, which has this very nice simple design, as well as with the addition of that black sort of brass sort of like gold fixtures going on throughout the entire home pretty much, which is also included within the bathrooms as well, which I feel like makes it feel a bit more glamorous and fancy in my opinion. And it just sort of like fits that modern style that I'm trying to go for. And I kind of went with a new and interesting take for the living room sort of seating area. So the main home actually had a sort of seating area like this, and I actually was kind of inspired by it, and I just feel like it turned out pretty nice, to be honest. Like I didn't really think about using just these like curved pieces to create a functional sort of living space, but I feel like it actually turned out really amazing in the end, and I just feel like it works nicely and fits that sort of like modern theme that I was trying to go for, which simplifies pretty much the entire process of just like making everything look a bit more like simpler to view and see, if that makes sense. So yeah, I feel like it turned out really nice. And I did also utilize the growing together sconces for the interior of the home, in case you are wondering what kind of sconces I am using. I just really love those lights in particular, especially when I'm using that with the other pendant lights, whether it's the saucer lights or just like another geometric light, or like the other light bulbs that come in like sets together. It just works really nicely with connecting all of the colors together, especially since we do actually have quite a lot of gold fixtures and brass fixtures and whatnot going on throughout the entire home. So yeah, it kind of just like made sense to utilize those for the wall sconces. And since I do actually enjoy using a lot of the objects from the Life and Death expansion pack, they do actually come in a very simple sort of colorway, but the fixtures come in like this like very nice gold brass color, and I just really love utilizing it. So yeah, I do actually just end up catering the rest of the objects to like fit that theme, if that makes sense, which I feel like could get a little bit repetitive, but I do actually try to like change it up here and there just to make it feel a bit more interesting and stuff like that. But as I mentioned earlier, this build primarily focuses on creating a very monochromatic feel, so it doesn't actually incorporate a lot of these like colors and stuff like that. So yeah, we don't have like a lot of specific objects that have color within them. It's sort of just like getting colors from accent pieces and like furniture pieces and whatnot, rather than having just like one single object that is like a statement piece, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm just like trying to go around the entire like main floor of the home, just like trying to clutter it up, make it feel a bit more homey, because I feel like these modern homes can get a bit too simplistic and just like not feel that comfortable to like sort of be considered a home, if that makes sense, or like homey, like cozy and stuff like that. So yeah, I just tried to go around the entire home and just like add general objects that you would probably see and clutter and whatnot. But yeah, moving on to the second floor, I actually really loved how each of these bedrooms turned out, because I feel like they all have just like a unique color scheme going on for them. So this one in particular, as you guys can see already, is like this like very nice black, white and gold theme, and I just tried to go for this like very nice and mature colorway for the bedroom in particular. But we do also have like some very nice bedrooms in the other parts of the home as well, which I feel like houses different colors and just like different objects and stuff like that, which I feel like make it look super unique and interesting. and I'm just like trying to utilize object pieces that I don't actually utilize quite often. So although I do actually utilize the Dream Home Decorator modular object pieces quite often, I don't really use it in like these dark swatches that are like commonly seen in those packs. So yeah, it was kind of just like a nice change to utilize those in this build in particular as well. And this is actually the part of the home that has its own balcony area, which is the master suite, and I just really love how this turned out in particular as well. I just feel like this main bedroom houses a lot of the general features that you would pretty much see in every single bedroom, but it sort of has that very modern and just like open feel to it, especially with that very spacious balcony that it has all to itself. I just feel like it looks super interesting. And since we did have quite a lot of space, I did also house a very nice sort of like nice seating area, as well as like that very huge sort of seating right in the center of like that bedroom area, which I feel like looks super interesting. And yeah, so for this bedroom in particular, we're kind of just going for a more lighter theme. So we have this very nice oak sort of bright wooden sort of bed frame, along with that sort of like white and cream color that we have going on throughout all of the rest of the furniture throughout the entire home, which I feel like looks really interesting and sort of just like matches very well together, and just looks overall very cohesive and sort of just like fits that very monochrome style that we're trying to go for. And I just feel like it turned out really nice in the end, especially with how spacious it really is, and has quite a lot of these like spacious floor to ceiling windows going on throughout pretty much the entire home, so you get quite a lot of natural light into this bedroom, which I feel like looks super nice and interesting. And I did also try to like clutter it up and make it feel a bit more busier, but I was also trying to stick to that simplistic monochrome theme, and I feel like I did a pretty good job with like trying to make it feel a bit more like luxurious but also keep it very simple. And since this was like the primary bedroom, I did want to incorporate a double sink sort of like vanity area, and I just feel like it turned out really nice as well. And I also wanted to utilize that very nice floor to ceiling sort of mirror, which has that very nice sort of light that goes around the entire perimeter of the mirror, which I feel like looks super interesting, and I do believe it came from the Spa Day pack, and I just feel like it looks super nice. And I just used some clutter from that bathroom clutter kit just to like make it feel a bit more busier, which I do pretty much use in every single one of my bathrooms, so I feel like it just makes it look a bit more realistic. And this primary bedroom does actually have its own walk-in wardrobe as well. It's just like a bit small since we didn't really have quite a lot of space to work with, but I feel like it kind of just like gets the point across that this is like the most luxurious room within this bedroom in particular, in my opinion. And just added like a nice simple mirror in there, as well as like just like a poof on one side of the walls, just to like fill up the space and just like make it feel a bit realistic, because I feel like you would want a mirror and somewhere to sit within this sort of wardrobe area in particular. And I did also utilize some different pendant lightings going on throughout the entire house, especially like all of the rooms, just to like differentiate all of them between each other and just like make them feel a bit more unique to each other as well. And I was actually wondering if I should incorporate a desk or some sort of like office space within this bedroom in particular, since we didn't really have a designated room for an office. I feel like it kind of just like made sense to add a very simple desk area within this bedroom in particular. So I went with the one that had that very nice glass sort of top to it, which I feel like looks really simplistic and modern, and it doesn't really add too much busyness or clutter into the bedroom in particular. But yeah, moving on to the final bedroom, we're going for a more wooden theme with that like very nice blue accents going on throughout, such as like the bed sheet and like the rest of the furniture pieces throughout the objects, which I feel like turned out really nice and interesting, since it does differentiate itself from the rest of the colors and objects that we have going on throughout the entire home in particular. And you might notice that we have some areas of the home which might have like sort of been like skipped, such as like the main corridor or like the main hallways or like the main sort of like upstairs area of this home. But I will provide a tour towards the end of the video, so make sure to stay tuned for that, so that you could see pretty much the entire home in a tour version of the entire build, if that makes sense. So yeah, you could sort of just like get an idea of the entire floor plan and whatnot, and I'd also provide a bird's eye view of the entire home as well, so you could just like get an idea of what the house sort of just like looks like from like a floor plan view, if that makes sense. And yeah, this bedroom did also have its own ensuite as well, and I just sort of differentiated it from the rest by just like adding a different sort of like cupboard sort of color. So we have that like very nice dark brown theme going on throughout this entire bedroom in particular. And yeah, I just feel like it turned out really nice and just like worked really well in just like differentiating it and making it look really unique from the rest of the bedrooms as well. And yeah, they pretty much all have like a very nice spacious bathtub, which has very nice lookouts from these floor to ceiling windows. And yeah, and then I just go around and just like pretty much just like place extra curtains and change up all of the lighting, as well as like adding some additional back garden and balcony furniture and stuff like that. And I did also add some exterior wall sconces as well, and like some garden lights, just to make it feel a bit more interesting. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this entire speed build. So thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think by leaving a like and subscribing. And I do also have a bunch more videos like this on the channel if you guys are interested in things like these. And I hope you guys are all having an amazing holiday so far, and I'll see you guys in my next video.